Okay, hey there everybody, welcome to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Dave and I do tech reviews and tech tips and things like that. And over the last few months, I have been using the Maxwell TicWatch Pro 3 GPS. That is a mouthful, and I've been using it for pretty much everything: to track my fitness, my health, respond to texts, take phone calls, check my emails, the weather, and pretty much everything that you use a smartwatch to do on a daily basis. And now, complete disclosure, Maxwell did send this unit over to me to review long-term for you guys, but there was no contractual agreement. I made it very clear that I'm not going to be saying what they want me to say, that they're not going to tell me I can't say there's nothing bad about the watch. That was very clear. There was no contractual agreement. This review is mine and mine alone. They did not get a review sample of this video to say to change anything. It's my video. That being said, I do think this is an awesome watch, but like most things, it's not perfect, and we'll talk about that. Now, starting from the outside in, I think it's pretty apparent that this watch looks really great on the wrist. The way that light bounces off of the body and the screen is really pleasant to look at, and this is a durable device here. This is something that when you put it on, you could tell that it's very sturdy. I've banged it around a few times for testing purposes, and there's no scuffs or scratches on the body at all. Incredibly durable, held up really well. Now, when it comes to the display, you have a really nice AMOLED display that has really nice colors, and all of the text is really sharp and crisp. Scrolling through the interface is incredibly smooth. Everything looks and feels great. There's also a secondary display built in here that's great for battery life, and we'll talk about that a little bit later when we get to that section. Now, looking at functionality, the top right button is going to open your app drawer, and coupled with Snapdragon's brand new 4100 Wear chipset, everything here flows incredibly smooth. You can flow all the way up the app drawer, all the way down. It's not going to stutter or lag. Nice and smooth. Nice and creamy, sort of. And the bottom right button is going to open up a suite of Maxwell's own curated fitness applications, and a lot of these work really well. And again, we'll touch on those a little bit later. Settings, of course, you have your gestures for tilt awake, for navigating through your notification cards. With that bottom right button, you can go into the settings and you can change it to activate pretty much anything that you wanted to. You guys are. So, if you guys have been here with me on the channel long enough, you guys know I've been recovering from Achilles tendon surgery, which is just as much fun as you think it is. And so my mobility has been limited, but during rehab, I've been able to get into some light jogging, walking a ton around my neighborhood, and the TicWatch Pro 3 GPS has been my absolute best friend through all of it. Again, can't do a lot of explosive running, but having the GPS function on this, that's completely free, mind you, I can disconnect my watch from my phone and it's still going to track my distance, the steps I've taken, my heart rate, my calories burned, without having to have my phone connected to it. And so I'm thinking there is absolutely no way that the built-in GPS function on this is going to be as good as, say, a dedicated fitness app on my phone. So I disconnected the watch from my phone, used Google Fit on my phone, turned the GPS on there, turned on the dedicated GPS on the TicWatch 3, and the results were nearly identical. I mean, they were off by a couple of steps, by a couple of calories, but largely the statistics were identical. So if you're worrying that this isn't going to be able to track your steps into fitness in a dedicated fashion, this works incredibly well. All right, I should probably get back to it. I'll leave you guys here in the woods. Have fun. Over the last few months of using the watch to respond to text or take phone calls, it works great. The voice dictation is nice and accurate. I love you. And the screen is nice and responsive, so when you're using the swipe gestures to text on the watch, those are really accurate as well. And the calling sounds great. I've been talking to someone on the other end, my family, my girlfriend Maria.
Are you calling me on the watch now?
Yes.
Oh, it sounds good.
Sweet. Say hi to YouTube. Say hi to YouTube.
Hi, YouTube.
Sweet, thank you. And they've all said the same thing, that the call quality sounds really good on the receiving end. And the speakers on this are pretty darn good. At maximum volume, I can easily be typing something, writing a paper, moving something, folding clothing, and speaking to them all from here. This is something that I've loved a lot about the watch, and I'm really glad that it's here. Mobvoi, great job with that. You can swipe left on the home screen to access your weather cards, your Google Fitness, and also to access Mobvoi's fitness suite. And this here is going to be going over all of your heart rate, your exercise. It's going to show charts for your resting heart rate, your low and high heart rate for all of the exercise you've done over the past couple of days, charts for your hours, minutes, steps, calories burned. There's a lot of comprehensive information here. And for those of you looking for a smartwatch that's also a fitness tracker, there's a lot of helpful information here. And honestly, one of my favorite parts of the TicWatch 3. Actually, I'm sorry guys. So I forgot to mention that this actually has what is called auto pause. So say you're out for a run, you see your neighbor or something like that, and you have to stop, talk to them, make sure you're being nice, ask how their day is. The watch will actually stop tracking your progress when it detects that you've stopped working out. When you're done your conversation, you continue running, and the watch is going to detect that you've begun running again. It's going to pick up right where you left off, so that way your statistics are congruent with you actually doing exercise, which I need more of. So, pretty sweet. I've been loving that feature, and I'm gonna go now. See you guys, bye. It's also IP68 water resistance rated. I have not had access to a pool, COVID, but I have subjected it to severe water torture. And it works. Now, Mobvoi advertises a 3-day battery life, and you can absolutely get 3 days worth of battery life on this. I like to push things to the limit. So I've had the heart rate monitor tracking always on, the movement and fitness tracking always on, the screen dimming I turn to the lowest possible setting so the screen is on as long as it possibly can be, notifications on, of course, and I've been using it pretty much for everything. And I can still get easily 2 whole days worth of battery without having to worry about charging it. And that's with phone calls and texts and emails and everything else that I discussed. The battery on this thing is amazing. Now that's my battery life experience with the AMOLED display, but there's also that secondary screen. And the secondary screen is going to basically make your watch an analog watch and take away all of the luxury features of a smartwatch. It's going to strip it down to your time, your date, your steps. Now it's going to put your phone into what they call the essential mode, and this happens when your battery percentage drops beneath, I think, like 1 or 2%. It'll activate this so that way you can at least have the time for when you're able to get to a charger. But you can also toggle this mode on, and they advertise it's going to get you 45 days worth of battery. I'll be honest, I have not tested out the 45 days of using this essential mode because I like to use my smartwatch as a smartwatch for everyday things, texting, calling, all the things we've discussed. But I did try it for a day. I left on the essential mode from the time that I woke up to the time I went to sleep, and it only dropped, I think, 1 or 2%. Pretty impressive. Whew. Okay. So one of the big focuses for Mobvoi with the TicWatch 3 was fitness integration. So basically, if you press the bottom right button on the TicWatch, it's going to open up this fitness suite. So basically, if I'm going for like an indoor run, well, indoor walk, outdoor walk, if I'm going swimming, using the elliptical, doing yoga, freeform exercise, it's going to start tracking my exercise for me. It'll start monitoring my heart rate, how many calories I've burned, how long I've been doing the workout for, so that way I know how much I'm pumping when I'm pumping. And over the last few months of using this, I found this to track really well across multiple different exercises. If I'm boxing, if I'm lifting weights, if I'm jogging on the treadmill even indoors, that all tracks really, really well. Now, you guys are probably wondering why on earth I have this massive stick with me, and you're expecting a really good explanation. Well, joke's on you, I don't have one. And I'm taking it with me. So, see ya. Now you also have a sleep tracking mode that's going to show you things like how long you've had a light sleep for, how long you were in deep sleep and REM, your blood oxygen levels while you were sleeping, your heart rate while you were sleeping, and also show you your maximum and minimum for each of those statistics, and also give you a couple of helpful tips like exercising more can help lead to better sleep, eating better, and things like that. There are also a couple of helpful Tic Apps, that's what they call them, such as Tic Breathe, which is going to help you lower your heart rate and get into a more meditative state. I think this is actually pretty helpful. But then you also have ones like Tic Hearing, which is intended to listen to your surroundings and tell you if your environment is too loud or too quiet. I don't think this works well. Honestly, I think it's a bit too sensitive for what it does. I literally just snapped my fingers next to the watch and it was telling me that my environment was dangerously loud, that it was endangering my organs and nervous system and things like that. I think it's cool that they're trying out these different things. The tick hearing in particular, don't think works well, but all the other ones I think have their function. Now to this point, everything I've mentioned has been pretty much positive. You guys are probably thinking, when do we get to the bad stuff? Well, there are a couple of things here that I'm not incredibly fond of. The tick hearing is one of them. I honestly just don't think that works too well. The second thing has to do with the automatic fitness tracking. Now, if you're going for a run or you're jogging or exercising, if you forget to put on the designated fitness tracking application to track whatever it is that you're doing, the watch will detect that you're exercising and it'll start to count the calories burned, your heart rate, how long you've been exercising for. But in my experience, this is a little bit late to the ball game by the time that I actually do start exercising. I think it's nice that it's there for people who forget to put that on, but sometimes I'll be like 5-6 minutes into a jog and then it'll turn on and say, hey, good job starting your run, we'll start tracking for you. And I'm like, well, I'm already 5 minutes in. Again, I think it's nice, but that doesn't work incredibly well. The next thing has to do with the fitness tracker itself. Not the fitness tracking with statistics, I think that works really well. But sometimes, not all the time, every once in a while, when I go to click into my stats, it'll ask me again for my date of birth and my weight. And I'm like, well, I already gave you all of that information. But it asks for sometimes, it's a small thing, but sometimes, I'm trying to get into my information and I have to put that stuff in all over again. It's a little annoying, to be frank. There's also the battery drain when I'm using this as my designated GPS. It does kill the battery rather drastically. If I'm going for, say, like an hour-long walk or more, I can easily see the battery drain on this about 30-35%. You'll still be able to get a full day's worth of battery, but it is going to take a significant hit on your battery and you'll probably have to charge it at the end of that particular day. But if you're not using it every single day, you'll still be able to get that 2-3 hours worth. Now, when talking with Mobvoi about their inspiration for the TicWatch 3, there were two things. They wanted to be a direct competitor to those fitness tracking applications with the blood oxygen levels, the heart rate monitors, the step tracking, and the fitness workouts and things like that with Garmin and all those other fitness watches. But they also wanted to be a direct competitor to Samsung with their Galaxy Wear series. Now, when you look at both of the phones, the Galaxy Wear series and the TicWatch 3 are very comparable in terms of feature sets. The Galaxy Wear has the rotating bezel, which I love, but they do not have access to the entire Google Play Store suite. You're locked into the Tizen software experience with Samsung's own dedicated apps, but on the TicWatch, you get Google's entire suite. And to me, alongside everything else that this watch does incredibly well, despite some of the shortcomings, makes it the best Android watch that you could possibly buy right now. Thank you guys so much for stopping by and hanging out. If you're new to the channel and want to see more content, I'll have a playlist here, right there. Subscribe if you're new and want to see more things. And have a fantastic remainder of your day, afternoon, or night, depending on the time it is that you are watching this. And, as always, peace, love, adios. Bye.